Hey there YouTube, it's Nick with Feeding Fitness. Today I'm going to do a video about recomps or a recomposition diet. I've done or at least talked about this in the past, but I'm going to talk about it a little bit more and tell you about the recomp diet I'm going to attempt. So let me just start off with that. I've decided I'm going to attempt a recomp diet. Now normally I'm against recomps for most people, and I'll explain why and why I'm going to do one anyways. But the main reason that I want to do one is, first off, I'm focusing more on strength than on size. So that's going to make this recomp a little easier to pull off. And secondly, it's right after January. It's a little too early to start cutting because I think I will be at my leanest a little too soon if I want to be lean by summertime. And there's not enough time to really do even like a mini cut, another bulk, and then get lean in time. At least not the way I want to do it. So my goal is really to spend the next 10 to 15 weeks maximum doing this recomp, and I'm not necessarily trying to lose fat and gain muscle, which is usually the goal of a recomp. I'm more trying to maintain or increase strength while not increasing fat anymore. If I end up losing some fat and gaining some muscle along the way, all the better, but really what I'm going to focus on is increasing strength and not gaining any more fat. So that's going to be my goal, and that's why I think it'll be easier for me to pull off my recomp. So enough about me. What exactly is a recomp? For those of you who don't know, the traditional definition of the recomp would be to lose fat while gaining muscle. It's kind of the unicorn of the fitness industry, or the unicorn of anybody who cares about body composition. If you can simultaneously lose fat and gain muscle, that's going to yield you some great results. Here's the issue. It's very hard for most people to do it, if not impossible, depending on where you are in your lifting career. So who would a recomp be easiest for? Here's a couple of groups. First of all, people who are brand new to lifting. If you are brand new to lifting, a recomp is going to come fairly easy. If you're, average height for your weight, you're not too fat, your weight is not a problem, you just don't really have any muscles because you've never lifted, or you're, a condition we sometimes call skinny fat, a recomp is perfect for you. Spend 6 months just eating around maintenance, get good at logging your calories. It's a good time to practice that for when you'll have to lose weight later. And just see what happens. For you guys, you don't really have to do much other than eat at maintenance and lift weights, and you're gonna gain some muscle while losing some fat. It's the advantage of being untrained. How long is this gonna last? 6 months, maybe a year tops, so enjoy it while you've got it. So for people who are skinny fat or just starting out, don't have a weight problem to begin with, recomp is a great choice for you, and you don't have to work really hard, it's probably just going to happen. Now, another group that's gonna be or have a very easy time recomping are the morbidly obese, very big people, like when I first started. No matter what you do, if you're lifting weights and you're losing fat, you're going to do a little bit of a recomp. It's just because you have so much extra fat to burn for energy, that's just what's going to happen. Your body is not going to readily give up lean tissue because there's just so much fat on board to use for energy. So again, people who are obese, just focus on weight loss, and some recompositioning is just going to happen for you. Again, maybe for the first 6 months. So enjoy it while you've got it, and you don't really have to do anything special. That's going to come just by lifting weights and doing your normal cutting or weight loss diet. So those two groups are going to have an extremely easy time. Teenagers, just because of the way their hormones are, they are going to have an easier time recomping. So if you're a teenager, I always say just, try and eat reasonably. I wouldn't even count calories, and you're going to see recomp happen anyways if you're lifting weights. And then the final group, they are similar to teenagers in that they have a hormonal advantage, but these are the people on steroids because they're literally injecting hormones into themselves. So they're going to have a much easier time recomping. So if you don't fall into one of those groups, and I don't fall into any of those groups, I would normally say recomping is not the best choice for you. There are certain situations where I feel it's okay, like the situation I described. If it's going to be a shortish period of time, 10 to 15 weeks, I choose that because that'll allow me to do 2 or 3 cycles of my powerlifting routine. where size isn't your biggest issue. For a power lifter, this is going to be a lot better to attempt a recomp than for someone who's into bodybuilding or just wants to, into aesthetics. Because you're just never going to lose fat at the rate you gain muscle. It's absurd to think you will. Someone who's eating in a surplus and doing everything possible to gain muscle, a man is going to gain maybe 2 pounds at best a month in muscle, and a woman about 1 pound. So if you're doing everything right and you're eating in a surplus and that's the max you can gain, how much do you think you can realistically gain when you're not eating in a surplus? Half a pound a month, a quarter of a pound a month, it's not going to be a huge number. So if strength is more your concern, then you might be able to manipulate your diet enough that you can continue to gain some strength. And it's not going to be the same kind of gains you were making when you were eating, but you might at least be able to halt fat loss or halt fat gain, or even lose some fat. So if I lose a little bit of fat and am able to maintain strength gains, even if they're not the same speed of strength gains, then I'm going to call this a plus, because it's only going to be for a short period of time anyways. So and then one other group of people that don't fit into the original 3, but it might be okay for a recomp, these are the extremely advanced. If you're 5-7 years into lifting and a bulk just doesn't really do you any good, you're basically at your genetic potential. The only gains you're going to make are super slow gains anyways. A recomp might be the best idea for you because your gains are going to be slow anyways. So doing a recomp lets you stay lean year-round while still somewhat maybe gaining, just small amounts of muscle over a very long period of time. But since you're at your genetic potential, that's all you can hope for anyways. So if you don't like, bulking up and getting puffy and then cutting down and doing that to your diet, you can basically just do kind of a recomp for, infinity. So it might work for you. So how am I going to attempt my recomp? Now, first of all, I'm not really going to recommend anybody try this. I have very little experience with this. There's not a super amount of research to back any of it up. So this is going a lot from some things I've read online, McDonald's forums, some videos from some other people. So it's kind of an experiment for me. So basically what I'm going to attempt to do is have 2 days where I'm going to eat relatively low carbs and low calories. I will definitely be in a deficit. 2,500 calories, that should put me in a 600 to 700 calorie deficit, possibly cardio on those days as well. Maybe one of the 2 of them, we'll see. But I will definitely be in a decent deficit those 2 days. Then on the 3rd day, I will eat in a surplus, enough so that I cover the majority, if not all, of my deficit. So say I do 2,500 calories, and then maybe 4,200 calories on the 3rd day. So it all works out to be very close to even. Might be slightly in the negative due to the cardio I'll be doing if I do it. So that's kind of where I'll be. Now, I will do some nutrient partitioning. And I know this is usually the bro science I come out against, and for most people in most situations, I wouldn't pay attention to this stuff. But when you're trying to do a recomp, every little thing can matter. Normally, I would say don't focus on this stuff. It's the small stuff. For a basic bulking diet or a basic cutting diet, it's not important. But if you're going to attempt a recomp, every little bit is going to count. So your tracking has to be super on. So there'll be no estimating, there'll be no guessing. On the low calorie days, on the deficit days, my carbs are going to be kind of low, 150-ish, maybe a little less. It'll come out to more, but I'm not going to count the fiber carbs towards the carbs, because that's just what I'm going to do. But anyways, it'll be high fat, high protein, or moderate protein, I guess. I'll eat 1 gram per pound like I usually do, and low-ish carbs. Then on that 3rd day, it'll be essentially a refeed day. Fats will be extremely low, 40 tops. I'd like to hit 30, but 40 tops. Because if you're not ingesting the dietary fat, even if you're at maintenance or in a small surplus, you shouldn't be storing fat if you keep your fats low enough. Protein will be about the same, and carbs will be through the roof. I will make up all of those extra calories in carbs. So you're going to be very high carb days. So this is basically what a typical refeed looks like. And it'll continue. I'll do 2 low days and a high carb day, 2 low days and a high carb day. And on day 7, it'll be an even day or slight deficit. I'll eat about 3,000 calories on my normal, what you would just call a regular if it fits your macros day, where I just have a fat minimum, a protein minimum, and then eat what I want. And this is basically a flex day, so I can have a day where I can go out to eat, I can have a day where I can have things that I can't normally, because those are kind of stringent, to keep low carbs on 2 days, it eliminates a lot of choices. And then the day you finally get the carbs, you have to keep the fats low. That eliminates all those. So basically anything that's high in carbs and high in fats, all the best foods, are gonna be hard to eat. So to not drive myself crazy, I will allow that third or that 7th day to be a flex day. And it's hard to go out to eat and do low carb, low fat. That's very hard to do. So if we're going out to eat, dinner with family, things like that, I have that flex day available, and I can move that flex day to whatever day I want. So that makes it somewhat convenient, because I don't like super strict, stringent diets, and this one is going to be kind of strict, so I do need that flex day. So that's how I'm going to attempt a recomp. Again, I do not recommend this necessarily to anyone, as I don't have a lot of research to back this. There is a chance I could just end up spinning my wheels. We'll see. But my goals for this aren't very lofty anyways. I'm not trying to, lose 10 pounds of fat while gaining 5 pounds of muscle. That isn't going to happen. My goals are to simply not gain any more fat and to continue building strength, even if it's just a little bit of strength, to get me through these next 10 to 15 weeks. So I don't think those goals are out of the question. So this is what I'm going to do. If you guys have suggestions or if you've done recomps a different way, please let me hear how you did it. Just a side note, I will be doing intermittent fasting probably through the whole thing, maybe not so much on the high carb days. I might give myself more time, but on those low calorie days, I like to keep the feeding window tight. I do that on my cuts anyways. I'm not doing it for any other reason than satiation. I don't think it's going to necessarily provide me partitioning benefits or intermittent fasting magic. It's just going to help me stay satiated. So that's why I'm doing that. I will give you guys updates and I'll let you know how things go. You'll notice tomorrow, All You Can Eat Wednesday will officially be 2.0, and it'll be the Recomp diet, and it'll stay on 2.0 until that phase is done. I will probably try and alternate showing you guys a low calorie day and a high calorie, high carb day, refeed day, so you guys get a little idea of what I'm doing for both days. So that's all I have to say. If you like the video, please give it a thumbs up. Go ahead and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Questions, comments down below or over at Facebook at facebook.com/feedingfitness. See you guys next time.